What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my portal. If you're new here, you're just on time, and you know what to do. Get comfortable, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So it's been a little while since I've posted on here or created any content for YouTube. I kind of just wanted to step back and take a break and kind of just take a little time to narrow down on my focus and what message I want to share, to make sure that I was intentionally posting. I speak for myself and maybe other content creators. Sometimes we feel like we have to constantly be posting to stay relevant or make sure that we're consistent with our business, with our brand, which is true. You do have to stay consistent, but you want to make sure that you are connected and intentional with what you are posting, because if you're just posting to post, then you know it doesn't really have no real connection. My goal is not to be seen. My goal is to be heard. So I've been trying to post more heart-led content rather than trying to keep up with the social media community overall. But with that being said, you can definitely look forward to me posting way more consistently and more intentionally. But what I wanted to talk about today is 3 things that I've learned on my spiritual journey. So let's get right into it. Spirituality is an outfit that looks different on everyone, meaning you don't have to dress, you don't have to look, you don't have to listen or be into certain things in order to be considered spiritual. And this is something that I wish I knew from the beginning. For a long time, it was hard for me to be myself, to listen to the music that I wanted to listen to dress the way that I wanted to dress, to be literally me, because I felt like it would be judged, or because it didn't fit the description of someone who was spiritual or believed in more of a spiritual practice. And although it sounds so simple, it was something that was conflicting. I realized there was such thing as trying to be too spiritual. I remember having this conversation with someone and saying, I'm having a hard time kind of being myself but also incorporating my spirit. And their answer was, why can't you be both? And I was just like, word. Like, as simple as that sound, I was struggling with that because I wasn't accepting the fact that even though I like drill music or dressing the way I do, or being from the Bronx, I felt I couldn't be, or I wasn't being spiritual. But it's not until you kind of merge the two that you realize that's what makes you you. That's what makes you who you are. You shouldn't identify spirituality with how you should look. When you're spiritual, you feel you can't be into material things or feel good or look good, or you feel like you can't like designer or material things. But dressing in itself is a spiritual act. It's a spiritual practice. When you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you attract good. And so it is important that you do things that makes your spirit happy. And if it's buying you a pair of some J's, or is listening to music, or just indulging in things that might not be spiritual to the next, doesn't make you any less spiritual. That's something that I, like I said, wish I knew before, because when I did merge the two is when I was able to kind of realize, I'm pretty dope. The fact that you can be spiritual, have more of a spiritual practice, more of a spiritual belief, but still be who you are. That brings me to my next point. The spiritual journey is more about fully experiencing this human experience more than it is spiritual. Finding that balance between spirituality and practicality, holding space for both to coexist. Within life, we have many polar opposites. Without warmth, there is no cold. Without space, there is no earth. Without good, there is no bad, which is also a reflection of us. Just like the universe, we hold many polar opposites within us. We have our spirit and we have our vessel. We have the masculine and we have the feminine. We have our light and we have our dark. And we've kind of been taught in society not to really identify with those parts, not to really focus on the bad or the dark because it's bad vibes or it's negative or it's low frequency. But when you ignore those things or suppress them, they tend to come up into your reality. And now the same thing that you're trying to suppress is who you are. And so that's why it's important to do shadow work and all of that, which I will also be talking about in later videos. But this is the duality within us that we kind of have to look at. We don't want to identify with jealousy, anger, envy, the lower frequencies. But as human beings, we all, like I said, hold these opposites, these polar opposites. And there was a saying I heard, it's not until we combine or merge the two that we're able to live an abundant, full life. So these emotions, feelings, and things don't stick with me and don't stay with me. It doesn't affect my decisions or who I am at my core. And even if you do, you're aware of who you are because you've integrated them, because you've accepted those parts of yourself. What it means to be on a spiritual journey is that you're just becoming conscious of your subconscious, another polar opposite within us. Having that balance between both, accepting that you're human, accepting that you're a spirit, and allowing them to be one with each other in order to fully experience life, whether making mistakes, changes, learning, falling, getting back up, trying again. That's why I feel like the spiritual journey is about fully experiencing this human experience, but also allowing space for your spirit to kind of do its thing, to kind of show you the way. Not allowing these earthly situations to f up spiritually. Finding that balance and knowing that nothing is happening to you but for you. You know, you came here to live this human experience, to explore this vessel, to be everything and utilize your gifts, talents, and everything you've been given. And so when you don't, allow for that, then, what's the point? Which leads me to my last point. Spirituality is not a person. It's more of a force, it's a belief, it's a practice. I've had people ask me, oh, when did you turn spiritual? And you never turn spiritual. You are a spirit. You kind of learn to accept and incorporate it, like I said in my last point. You learn to understand that it's an innate force within you. When you let it guide you, when you surrender to it, you're able to kind of realize that we are already spiritual beings and we're always being guided and protected if we allow it. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. So when you're asking someone, when did you become spiritual? It's like asking, when did you become a human? In a sense, when you say someone is spiritual, you give yourself less power because you're spiritual too. You're a spirit as well. It's a matter of just what you tap into, what's your belief. Some people might be spiritualists, have more spiritual rituals. And the sooner we realize we are all spiritual beings having this human experience, the faster we can tap more into our gifts, tap more into our authentic selves, and live full authentic lives while also adding to the collective, making the world a better place. And so I'm not saying everybody go be spiritual. I'm saying you already are. Just allow it, surrender to it, and let it guide you. It's your friend. It's not trying to change you, it's trying to make you better. And so that's what I've learned on my spiritual journey, and I'll see you in my next video.